Incoming transmission. Radio Rebellion.
Rebellions are built on hope.
Welcome to another episode of Radio Rebellion, a Star Wars podcast. How are you guys doing? I am your host, as always, Alberto Calderon, and thank you for being here on another wonderful Star Wars Saturday. We'll call them Star Wars Saturday. It rhymes. It starts with an S. I mean, it doesn't rhyme, but it starts with an S, both of them. So we'll call them Star Wars Saturday. So yeah, thanks for being here. Great week. Hope you guys had a great week. Great start to the weekend. Hope you guys are having a good one. We're going to have a fun show today. We have a great guest that's going to be joining us. We've been talking about this for a while. I think since last year, we tried to set something up. Life happens, and here we are. So we have a great guest today, and we're going to something we haven't done in a while, and it's talking about the Star Wars news. A lot of news broke out last week or the week before. We really haven't had a lot of time to talk about news, just focusing on just some different topics. And there really wasn't a lot of Star Wars news out there, but a bunch of news broke out. We're going to be discussing a few of them today with you guys. So we're going to have a lot of fun as always. So thanks for joining us. For anyone that's out there on the chat now, later, just make sure if you're watching this later in the replay to post your comments below about anything related to the news articles we're going to be talking about today. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so we can keep growing, and like the video. You'll see that thumbs up button. It's pretty simple. There's a little thumbs up guy. Just click on that. There's a subscribe button somewhere down there probably. Just click on it and we'll go from there. So yeah, thanks you guys, like I said, for being here. We hit 100 subscribers a few weeks ago, so we're planning that big special episode. It's going to be May 1st, if I'm not mistaken. It's going to be a watch-along / watch party of Revenge of the Sith. We have a lot of great guests coming that day, so mark your calendars. May 1st, 5 p.m. Eastern, we're going to do a live watch-along of Revenge of the Sith, Episode 3. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, all right, with that said, let's welcome our guests. One of the hosts of From a Certain POV Podcast, a Certain POV, the one, the only, is Adam. How you doing, Adam? Thanks for joining us today.
Hey, Alberto, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to do this. Like I said, we've been talking about this for so long. So glad it finally worked out. Happy
Yeah, I know. I think it was at some point last year around this summer, we started just shooting each other DMs and, hey, let's try to work something. I think Josh was out. He was taking vacation. And he's not here today. Yeah, he's dealing with some family things. So hope everything goes well for him. Family comes first, as we were saying before we started. And it's good that he's not here for this, because I was gonna grill him a little bit because he went on vacation and he went to Galaxy's Edge, if I'm not mistaken. I think you guys, he has a video on your YouTube channel. I was gonna ask, because I haven't been to Galaxy's Edge yet, so I wanted to talk to him about it, so maybe it's good that he's not here. Have you had a chance to go to Galaxy's Edge?
No, not yet. No.
Yeah, I know.
I want to. I'm dying to. That's like my dream come true. I mean, I've been to Disney so many times, and I love that part of the studios where it was kind of Star Warsy. We were on Star Tours, and there's kind of that one. That outpost, I forget what it's called, but it's almost like Tatooine style outpost.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was in high school, that was just my dream, just that little part of it. And then you blow that thing up and you make it an entire land. I can't wait to go see that.
Yeah, I said it here a few times, but I live like 2.5 hours away, so I should be there every weekend. I don't have a lot of excuses for not being out there, but I haven't been there. I tried to go last year when it opened 2019, I think. Then 2020 was my 40th birthday. I said, I don't want anything. I just want to go to Galaxy's Edge, and I'm going to build my own lightsaber. That's all I need. That's going to be me.
Yep.
And then, of course, you know what happened. COVID got here, didn't get to go. Park open again, so that's good for people had a chance to go. But I think that experience of building your lightsaber has been closed. I think it's going to open again at the end of April.
Right.
So maybe this summer, when I turn 31, I'll be there. But I went once. My wife doesn't like this story too much. We went to Star Wars weekend when we're still doing Star Wars weekend at Disney. Well, she was like 8 months pregnant in the Florida summer, 8 months pregnant, and it started raining because it's Florida and it rains every afternoon. She wasn't too happy with me running around. Look, there's an Ewok, there's a stormtrooper. She's like, dude, stop. But we had a great time, and I can't wait. Like you said, Galaxy Stage, that's a dream. That's a dream. So hopefully soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So before we keep going, I want to say thank you to you, Josh, and from a certain point of view,
hey, I've seen that before.
For this little giveaway, the Battle of Echo Bait Han Solo with the Tom that I won. I was waiting to show it to you guys, and then I'll bring it out. I don't like keeping things in their boxes, but I gotta find a space.
I don't either. I'm not. I like to you gotta let them breathe.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna keep it on the box, just go to the store every day and just look at them.
There you go. Right. Yeah. Or I mean, just look at a picture of it on the internet. It's the same thing.
Yeah, save yourself a bunch of dollars every time we.
Yeah.
So they're not the most. They're not the cheapest. So one of the reasons I always wanted to talk to you guys when I started doing my podcast and my YouTube show, I found you guys. You used to do a live show also on Saturday afternoons, I think around 2 or something like that.
Yeah.
And we had a really similar shows. Both of us did the first segment was just talking about what the news of the week, and then jump to a special topic or something like that, and then you would release it as an audio podcast, and I was doing the same thing. So it was great to see you guys progress, and at the same time gave me a few ideas of how to do the show. But it also was, I can't watch the whole show because then I'm going to be repeating the same thing in a few hours. So I was always there for a couple of minutes, and then I gotta jump out, because if not, I'm just repeating the same thing. But
right. Yeah. And we started around the same time too.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we were like November, October 19, somewhere in there. And I think you were pretty close, right?
Yeah. I think my first show was late January of 2020 or early February. I think late January of 2020 is when I started. So I just had my first year a few months ago, right before everything went to hell, basically. So I know a lot of people started their podcast in March, April, when COVID was out there, so I'm glad to say I started a little bit before that trend of
you're pre-COVID, you got it, you got in there, you slipped in there,
just right in. So as we just said we started shows pretty early on. What led you and Josh to decide, hey, let's go ahead and do a Star Wars podcast, YouTube show, whatever? Where did the idea come from? The name for it? Do you have different ideas?
Josh was kind of the catalyst on both of those. I mean, so he kind of came up with the name. We were kind of, to get you an idea of how it started, it was literally Josh came up to me and said, hey, do you want to do a Star Wars podcast? And I was like, okay, let's go.
That's simple.
It was that easy.
Yeah.
We went out to dinner one night with a few friends, and he just I was doing a different show at that time. It was kind of more just general geek stuff that's since been on hiatus for months. One of those deals. So he saw that I was kind of doing that, and I think he had thought about Star Wars podcasting before, and so he just came up to me and was like, hey, you want to do this? I'm like, that sounds fun. As far as the live show goes, I think that was kind of my idea, and we did that for a while, and then we actually got away from it. We haven't been doing live for a while. We did a live broadcast couple months ago. But it's been a long time since we've consistently done a live show, and it's kind of nice. It's a little live is a lot of fun. It's a lot of work also. It's a lot of stress, as you know. And it's been honestly, it's been kind of nice to kind of kick back and relax and record and have a good time and not worry about putting on a show.
I understand, because I was off last week, and then you don't have to worry about it. And then I get an extra weekend day. And
it's not as easy as just hitting go live. There's a lot you're thinking about and putting into it, and you're keeping that energy level up, and it's a lot more than just hitting that live button. So
Yeah, I'm starting. When I first started, it was every week. Every weekend, I gotta do a show. I can't stop. And then the second season, the second half of last year, and then this year, I've already taken 2 breaks. Of course, the first one was my anniversary, and then last week was my wife's birthday. So I had to take those, even if I didn't want to.
yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
There's not much you can do about those ones.
Yeah. but I've given myself that freedom now that if I need a few weeks off or a day off, that's fine. We don't need to be on it every single weekend. Just take the week off, relax, enjoy your time with your family and all that stuff. But so you said, I mean, you guys saw a Star Wars podcast, just came out with the idea. You were doing live shows, stopped those a little bit, and now you're transitioning a little bit. In the past month and a half, your show took a little turn. What are you guys focusing on now, and where did the decision come from?
Really kind of a broader thing. So it's really, we still talk about Star Wars, and we actually talked a good bit about Star Wars news last week on the show. So it's not that we've really gotten away from Star Wars. We just kind of want to talk about a lot more stuff. And, we both, Josh and I, are huge Marvel fans. I'm a huge DC fan. And, so we got around that time where WandaVision was out. And, we're both watching WandaVision and we're loving it. And we want to talk about that more. And, then that was going to lead right into Falcon and Winter Soldier. But then we also had things like the Snyder Cut and all this other stuff that we wanted to talk about, I had started to go back and watch like Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, and I kind of want to talk about that stuff too. And it's hard to do that when you're just a Star Wars podcast, So and we actually kind of tested the waters a little bit with Natalie and Michelle and Josh's wife Brittany when we did a Lord of the Rings show with them.
Oh, nice.
And that was kind of our way of kind of testing out how non-Star Wars content might do on our show, and it did pretty well. I was kind of surprised it did pretty well, and really it just kind of came around at a time where there was a lot of negativity in the Star Wars fan space, and it was getting a little bit draining for me, and it was harder and harder to kind of get back behind the mic. And when I was actually kind of being, like me personally, I was kind of being pulled into, like Marvel and having a lot of fun with Marvel and talking and theorizing about Marvel. And so, Josh ended up kind of feeling the same way, and we talked about it, and it was kind of cool. We were both kind of thinking it. Neither of us had said it,
Yeah.
And then after the show one day, I was like, "Hey, I kind of want to talk to you about this." And it turns out he was kind of feeling the same, and so it was kind of an easy transition for us, and it's given us a lot of fun stuff to talk about. We've talked about that type of stuff that I mentioned before. We had one week of a show where we talked about like music that was popular music that was in movies. So we went back and we talked about stuff like Back to the Future with Huey Lewis and all that good stuff, and Ghostbusters with all that original music. It's just been a lot of fun to branch out and talk about new things.
Yeah, there's right now for people like us that grew up 80s, 90s, 2000 that grew up with the comics, not a lot of TV shows or movies. There were movies, of course, Batman Returns and all those Tim Burton ones, and then a bunch of little corny ones, but we still watch them. But we have all that background of growing up as kids, loving all this geek stuff. And now it's exploded the past 10, 15 years to just mainstream.
Yeah.
So like you said, I understand, because not you guys, a lot of Star Wars podcasts have started to branch out to do live YouTube, live reactions the next day, that same night that WandaVision drops, now with Winter Falcon and Winter Soldier, everything that's coming, Loki, Snyder Cut, like you mentioned. So there's a lot right now that, and I've thought about it, but like you said at the beginning, doing a show is not, it takes time. It's not that easy.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I can do more than one show, because one is enough.
That's what we talked about. We talked about, keeping the podcast to Star Wars and maybe starting up a YouTube show or channel that was separate. And it's like, man, this isn't, it's not as easy if, because I do most of the editing. Josh has done a lot of the planning and getting news articles and stuff like that together. So, we're kind of splitting the load there, but it takes a lot of time to do that. It's, if I'm just going through and just editing stuff, it's still another couple hours on top of, just recording, so record for an hour, edit for an hour and a half or 2 hours, and planning and all this other stuff. It's just,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, I don't know. People do multiple shows a week. Some people that just jump on streams whenever someone invites me. It's like, I do
Yeah.
one a week, and I think that's enough. I do a
I
little
know.
bit of editing for when the podcast version releases on Wednesday, on Monday, but not that much, just a little bit. But it's still very time consuming. And then just doing all the research and
Mhm.
make sure you watch all the shows on time. You don't want to get spoiled. It's a
Right,
whole
right.
production just to
Yeah.
before you sit down and start working on it.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, you and I both have, wives and families and jobs.
Yes.
Unfortunately, this doesn't pay any bills.
Mhm.
Any bills.
Yes, no. I got like Anchor keeps giving me, oh, this is how much you've made from that little
Yeah.
20-second intro that it's like, I think I haven't reached like $20 or something. Like, it doesn't
I know.
even, I'll just keep it there.
I actually turned off the ads, and the only money that we bring in is the money that Josh and I used to support. like we have the Anchor support thing on.
Yeah.
And like we don't advertise that anywhere.
I know.
But Josh and I both put like in a little bit a month, and then that helps pay for the website, that type of stuff. So the only money that we ever get is the money that we put.
Yeah, just
Or supporting
so
ourselves with, yeah.
You even out. You're fine.
Yeah,
You're even
yeah,
out.
yeah.
All right, so let me say hi to a few people. We have here Tina Lynn saying hi to Kat. Hi, Tina. How you doing? Oh, for Kat, Better Girl 28 is here, and Force of Lights. How you guys doing? Thanks for joining us today. So yeah, like we were saying before, to love Star Wars or just anything in general that leads you or myself, Josh, and everyone out there to decide to do a podcast, a YouTube channel, whatever, has to be a lot of passion behind that. So, what is your Star Wars story that led you from? I don't know if it was you watched it the first time and you were blown over. It took time to now being part of this community, doing live shows, jumping up as a guest, having your own podcast. Where did it all start?
When I was 5 in front of a TV. Yeah, when I was, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if it was exactly 5, but it was right about then. I mean, the weird thing is I actually remember seeing Return of the Jedi. Like, I know I watched them sequentially because my dad showed them to me, and it was actually on VHS, and we were renting the movies from video rental stores, which are these things that you could use to be able to go and bring. Yeah.
They used to be those...
Yeah. It was like Netflix, except for you could only get one of the, you didn't have the whole thing. So I remember, I know I watched them sequentially, but the weird thing is I remember most of Return of the Jedi. That's the one for some reason that is like stuck with me. Mm-hmm. So I was young, and I loved them from the get go. Since the first time I saw them, blew my mind. That whole space adventure thing.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, for the longest time, we just had those three. And I was, I want to say 12 when episode 1 came out, somewhere in the, I was 13 when episode 1 came out. And after that, that's kind of when I started getting into like really deep Star Wars, like even more like finding the EU. I found, my library in high school happened to have the Jedi. Oh boy, Jedi. I'm blanking on which series it was, but it was like a young Obi-Wan with Qui-Gon. Kind of seeing Obi-Wan as a Padawan. I want to say it was like the Jedi Academy series or something like that.
I haven't read the EU, so just throw whatever name you want. I'll say,
okay, so we'll go with that. I don't think it's that, but we'll go with that.
Jedi Academy with Padawan Obi-Wan,
yeah, but they were really like young adult, maybe even grade school level books, and I was in high school reading these, and from there I probably looked inside of one of the front covers and saw this whole list of Star Wars books, and I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
So that's when I got into like Heir to the Empire and all the other stuff, and so I jumped into New Jedi Order, all that, which we look at like the High Republic now. New Jedi Order was like a 20-some book series. It was insane.
Yeah.
But from then on, I was like really, really into Star Wars, and so that passion's always been there. Podcasts, I had a job where I was. I mean, I'm still a desk job, but I mean, I had a job where it's kind of crazy. I worked in. I worked for a government contractor, and they were actually. housed in an old abandoned mine, like actual like underground mine.
Oh wow, great work conditions, I'm sure.
Uh, Totally recycled air. It was interesting.
Yeah.
I was down there for 4 years. I mean, like there wasn't much there. It's in the middle of nowhere, so it's not like I can even leave on lunch and come back. So that's kind of really when I got into podcasts, is when I had nothing to do for 40 hours a week, but literally just sit at a desk,
Yeah.
And so I found, at that point, it was a few years. I found like Coffee with Kenobi, Force.net, Forcecast, that type of
Yeah.
stuff. So I've been listening to podcasts like that for a while, and I've always kind of thought about doing podcasts, and it wasn't just until 2019 that I actually started to do it, so.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I know you said 5. We said young. I always say here that I was 3 years old, and I don't know if
Okay.
it's true, but this is my story, so I always stick to it.
Just say it with confidence, and then
Yeah, and one of my eldest brother, and I think today is National Siblings Day, so if you have a brother out there or a sister, make sure that you thank them. Hi to Ricardo and Jose, my brothers out there. Someday they'll watch the show. Maybe they do. They probably don't. But my oldest brother, he's 8 years older than me. I think he verified this a little bit. So I'll go quick because I said it before a few times. But I remember being 3 years old, 1983, Return of the Jedi comes out, and I'm sitting on my mom's lap watching it and just losing it when Jabba the Hutt shows up. I'm crying my eyes out because this weird slug is on screen.
Mm-hmm.
But from then on, Star Wars has always been part of my life, basically.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we had them on VHS, same as you said, and we watched them at our house whenever we can. But then there were that big break before 1999. There's really no Star Wars out there apart from the original 3, some video games. And I didn't get into the EU. I still haven't got into the EU. So for me, Star Wars took a break. There were more Star Trek stuff out there that I really enjoyed. And then Phantom Menace came out, or before, when it was announced, episode 1 is coming, a new trilogy, then I just lost it. Actually, before then, when the original trilogy was re-released in the theaters, the special editions, that's when I really fell in love. 96, 97, whenever that was, that's when it became a passion. And from then on, it's been part of my life forever. And then we had a break again, and the sequel trilogy came out. I know Tina out there said that her opinion hasn't changed. I don't know what her opinion is, but I really enjoyed the sequel trilogy, all the build up to it. And yeah, there's some good and bad, highs and lows in all 3 of them. I still enjoy them for what they are, trying not to go crazy with all the nuts out there, but it's always been there. So yes. And then I listen to podcasts, and not a lot. I used to listen to only 1 or 2 podcasts and maybe 1 YouTube show that talked about Star Wars leading up to the sequel trilogy, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes I would hear people talking about it, and I would say, no, I get another sense from that scene, or that meant something else to me. You guys are reading it wrong. I say, man, I want to be on one of those shows and be able to tell my experience or my relationship with that scene or that character. And of course, I'm not going to get invited to any of those. So why don't I just start a YouTube show? And I say, I don't know anything about YouTube. That's a young man's game. I don't know. Podcasting seems to be a lot easier. I found Anchor.
Yeah.
You just do it on your phone, hit play, and you're fine. Okay, I can do this.
Right.
So I started to do the first 10 shows, I think, just on the podcast on Anchor. Went fine. And then I said, let me try recording one. I uploaded it to YouTube, and then it kept going to the live shows as we do now. So it's been a progression. And I met a lot of new people, a lot of great podcasts out there. So I try to listen to. There's so many of us that it's hard getting there to listen to everyone every week. So we try. But all right, let's see what Tina's saying. So Tina's saying Force Awakens is great. I agree. The other 2 were a mixed bag, but still watchable every few months for Star Wars content. I agree. And I think that's a great way to look at it. There's good and bad in everything. Just enjoy them. You don't need to spend your whole life bashing a movie. All right, so before we go into our main topic, talking about Star Wars news, what are you looking for in Star Wars? I know we have the High Republic that started a few months ago. We have all the new TV shows coming, a few movies that are also coming around, more books, animated shows. So what are you looking forward to?
What I'm looking forward to the most right now, beyond the shadow of a doubt, is Kenobi.
Yes.
Absolutely is number 1 on my list for, mean, I don't know what else I have to say except
That's,
for
you know what?
you
Let's
and
leave it
McGregor,
there.
you and McGregor,
Yeah.
and he's back. Hayden
Let's leave it.
Christensen. I mean, that's it's perfect right there.
All right. So with that answer, I think it's time. So if you guys are ready, I'm ready. Let's talk Star Wars.
Star Wars news.
So like I mentioned, we're doing Star Wars news today with our friend Adam from a Certain Point of View podcast, and you said it, Kenobi. So let's start right there with the Kenobi cast. Our first news, and let me put us back in. All right, so our first news item is that Obi-Wan Kenobi cast has been revealed, the full cast or the main cast, and this is coming, and let me read this real quick, on March 29th, so last week, I believe, for a week and a half ago, Star Wars revealed the full cast for the upcoming Disney Plus limited series Obi-Wan Kenobi. Some highlights, apart from, of course, Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen, we have Joel Edgerton, and I believe her name is Bonnie Peace or Bonnie Peace.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure either.
I'm sorry. Reprising the roles of Tatooine's favorite aunt and uncle duo, Owen and Beru Lars. New cast members also include Moses Ingram, known for her role as Jolene on Queen's Gambit, Kumail Nanjiani, who's going to be on the MCU's The Eternal later this year, Indira Varma from Game of Thrones fame, and a bunch of other people are going to be there. No release date yet, but we know that production starts later this month in April. So, yes. So you just said the thing that has you the most excited is Obi-Wan Kenobi. I said here hundreds of times, Kenobi has become my favorite character. Boba Fett will always be that Hall of Fame. He's there. Let me not talk about Boba Fett. Growing up, he was my guy, but Kenobi's the one now. When Ewan was coming, there were rumors about Hayden that got confirmed a few months ago, I believe in December, and now we got the full cast. So before we start, what are your thoughts on the cast? Let's start with that one first. And we'll just jump in whole Kenobi. Maybe we'll spend the whole show talking about Kenobi. Who knows? But
I'll tell you what I'm most excited. I mean, aside from you and Hayden,
yeah,
is Beru and Owen coming back.
Of course.
And being recast, same as we got in Revenge of the... That's so cool, and I can't wait to see it. It makes, from reading some of the Star Wars comics and seeing Obi-Wan on Tatooine, kind of having, button heads a little bit with Owen Lars, and to think that might play a part in what we see, I think that's going to be so cool. I can't wait, and I'm so glad that they're both back. That's going to be super fun, and the rest of this cast is pretty amazing. I mean,
so just in time to Kenobi talk, the guys from Pink Milk are here. Hello there. So
hey.
Hello there. So yes, Owen and Beru Lars are back. It's one of those things that if you're gonna do a Kenobi show, that at least most of the show is gonna be on Tatooine, they have to be there. And like you mentioned, I haven't read it. Boy, I know about it.
Right.
Owen had a very contentious relationship with Kenobi. He didn't want Obi-Wan there. I don't want you to do anything with this boy. Too much of an influence. Just leave. And I've seen some of those comic art, and it's great. So like you said, if we do get this in live action, it's gonna be, because this show has to have that emotional impact.
Yeah.
I know we have Hayden back, so we're getting Vader, and we'll go into that in a minute. But it needs to have that big emotional impact of everything that Obi-Wan Kenobi has gone through, trying to redeem himself in Anakin's eyes, I guess, by taking care of his son. But at the same time, Owen and Beru saying, "Dude, get out of here! You were last time you were here, it didn't go well. So, what are you doing here? Just get out. Change your name. Why are you dropping with the Skywalkers? You make it too easy." So it's gonna be great seeing Owen and Beru back, seeing that relationship with Kenobi. Maybe we get a very young Luke Skywalker there. That's going to be awesome. So apart from that, theorizing, because when this cast came out, a lot of people, because Moses Ingram, I don't know if you've seen Queen's Gambit. I did watch it.
I haven't yet. I've heard so many good things, and I just haven't had, there's been so much to watch lately.
I know. Last night what do I watch? I spent 30 minutes.
I know.
I don't even know what I ended up watching. I got into it late. Same as the Queen on Netflix. I got into it like season 3. So I got into with my wife. We started watching Queen's Gambit about 2 months ago, and she's in the first 2 episodes, I think, and then at the end, and she does a great job with that character. But she posted them, I believe, on Instagram a caption when this came out saying, "Oh, I get to play with lightsabers," and then
Hmm.
people just went theorizing what that means. Do you jump into that theorizing game? Do you have any?
Oh, I mean, sometimes. I don't know that I read what she wrote as like her being like a Jedi. I don't know. I think that I think that the thing that you associate with Star Wars is lightsabers. So she's. I think that's maybe kind of her way. Saying that she gets to play in this universe. Might she be a Jedi that survived or something like that? Yeah, sure. And I think that'd be awesome. I'm all for that. I think seeing those characters that survive it not only makes sense. I think it kind of broadens.
Yeah,
It gives you more depth to those characters. They have something that they fought. They're kind of like Cal Kestis in
Mhm.
Fallen Order. He has immediately something that you can latch onto there, so I don't mind that at all. If that's actually what's happening, I think that's going to be super cool, and I'm all for that.
Yeah. I
But I,
mean, there.
but I just kind of think the vibe I get. I kind of think that that's just her way of saying that she gets to kind of come and
That's
play in
using
this
Star
universe.
Wars.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, because I think most of those actors they tell them, you gotta be tight lipped. You can't be spreading things around because we know Star Wars. You gotta keep everything locked down. So it's a little bit of a big push, I guess, or a big news if someone goes, "Oh, I was casting Star Wars. Yeah,
yeah,
lightsabers." Ah.
yeah,
It's like, oh, dude, hold on, hold on. But let's save through. So,
yep,
well, a lot of people were saying, "Oh, she might play a young Ahsoka." I don't know. We just got a brand new Ahsoka live action. Casting another one a few years
yeah,
younger seems a
yeah.
little bit off. Is
Right.
it Aris Offee, which we don't know how where she is? That's gonna be awesome. Can she be an Inquisitor also? There's a lot of different,
There's a lot of ways to
yeah,
go with
a
that.
lot of ways it can go. If
And
it,
and if yeah, I mean what you just said there. I mean, if she is an Inquisitor, that gives her a reason to play with lightsabers. So,
and it's
you know,
something we haven't seen too much in. I mean, we haven't. Now we have in Mandalorian. We got the Magistrate as one of the first female villains in Star Wars in live action, animated Clone Wars and Rebels, of course, with Inquisitors, Asajj Ventress. We do get those, but in live action, we don't have a lot of those. I think it would
right,
be cool
right,
to see a female Sith or a female lightsaber villain, I should say, in
yeah,
Star Wars.
yeah,
Other people could be can they retcon as a Ventress story, and then one of these characters can play her in live action. We'll see. Again,
sure,
this is Kenobi's story. We gotta make sure we keep focus on him. But apart from what she said, and then got a lot of people going, anyone
hmm
else that stands out? We have Kumail Najee.
yeah. I mean, and correct me if we didn't know about Kamal
I
before this
don't think
casting
so. No,
announcement, right? Yeah, I
no.
mean, I was surprised by that, and I mean, like you said, he's going to be in the Eternals. Seeing him just jump into Star Wars, that's cool. That's
Yeah,
awesome. And I wasn't expecting that one at all. That was a big surprise for me.
yeah. Him is gonna be great because it's in the Disney family now. Gonna be Marvel, like you just
Yep,
mentioned. So
yep.
it's not gonna be a quick, small role. I think it's going to be a big role for him, a good character. Some people are saying going to be an older, what's the kid from Phantom Menace that's with Anakin? I forget his name.
Oh,
Uh,
you would ask me now. On the spot, I'm not going to be. I'm
I
not
know.
gonna.
I have my shows, and someone in the chat will correct me.
I can hear it. I can hear it. Like in
Anyway,
my head, I can hear it, but I can't think of it.
so we have him that's going to be a good addition. Then we have Indira Varna from Game of Thrones. A lot of people can she play a version of Satine. Doesn't really vibe too much with the Clone Wars, but who knows? But let me see before we get going. Where is Brian? From our friend Brian from Pink Milk is asking, how do you all feel about seeing these casts and then casting them as people we already know? What about just a bunch of new characters we don't know yet? Yes, give us this, Brian.
That's what I. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, because then we get into all this comparison. It happened with Ahsoka when we saw her. It's not the same as Clone Wars or Rebels. She looks different. The way she acts is different. We got this. Saw Gerrera is the only one because it's an older, like 30 years older Saw Gerrera, and then we see him now back in Rebels, and now he's gonna be in Bad Batch. But I
Yeah.
think it puts too much on the creators to be too loyal to that animated version and not giving the cartoon of a breathing room. So just making new characters always the way to go. That's why make someone an
Yep.
inquisitor instead of someone that we already know. But yeah, I think
Yeah.
you're right, Brad. I'm hoping that
Um,
that's
100% behind that. 100% behind that because I mean, what you said there were great points, and I was one that wasn't totally on board with Rosario's Ahsoka.
yeah.
And that's something that you just get into with casting characters for live action. It's so cool to see those characters come to life. So there is that aspect of it. But this is also a huge universe, so bring some new characters into this.
Yeah.
I'm all for that. I would love if they were all new characters.
Hi, Nicole. Thanks for joining us. And like I said, our friend, he's going to be here with on our Star Wars Revenge of the Sith live watch. Our friend Oti del podcast de Star Wars comes through like always in the
He
chat.
got the name. He got it.
There we go. Thank you, Kidster. So a lot of people were saying, what if he's an older Kidster, Kumail Nayan? So we'll see. Again, it will be nice. Kidster, again, he was there. He didn't add too much to the story, like high five and all that stuff, but
Yeah.
we'll see. We also get O'Shea Jackson Jr., Sun Kang, Simon Kessel, Benny Safdie, and Rupert Friend joining the cast. So it's a great cast. I know there's going to be more people joining.
Yeah.
But so what are you hoping to see from this series?
What am I hoping to see? I mean,
So it could go a lot of ways. I know some people
Yeah.
don't want him to keep Tatooine. Others say, no, he has to. He can spend the whole season there.
I'm
Vader.
not quite sure how I feel about the Tatooine thing. And I kind of I do get those vibes that he has never left Tatooine. But at the same time, I don't see why he couldn't have left for a little bit. I'm kind of ride the fence on that one. I would like to see a young Luke. I'd like to see that. And I don't want them to de-age Mark Hamill to 10 years old. So,
No.
no,
So
let's not do that. Yeah. Yeah, that's a little too far for de-aging, I think. But I would like to see a young Luke pop up. I mean, it would make sense to me. So, and I think that would kind of tie in, give that original trilogy tie in for a lot of the original trilogy fans like you and I, and grew up on that type of stuff. So I think that would be important for us. But
yeah, I think if we're getting Owen and Beru,
you would think
we're gonna get the homestead. We're gonna see Luke at some point. It can't just be him in the background running, or just hearing some steps in the background and Beru. Look, you gotta clean your room. Go clean those vaporizers. He has to be there.
Off camera. Yeah.
Little shuffling, just like a little chuckle in the background. He has to be there at some point. But like we mentioned at the beginning, it has to be that emotional show. It has to be a character-driven show. It can't just be flashy lightsaber battles and all that. And of course, we're gonna get some of that. But I think it has to be more about everything that Obi-Wan's been there for 10 years. So it's a lot of things he has to be thinking on, all of his past failures, everything that happened. He knows that Anakin is Vader. I'm sure he's heard all the terrible things that Vader has been doing for this past decade and how he's going to deal with those. And then does he leave Tatooine to face Vader? Does Vader come to Tatooine? It shouldn't, because it doesn't match with A New Hope. Or do they even meet? And that's another one. We all think, at least I'm thinking, if Anakin's there, he's going to play Vader. They're going to have to meet at some point. Maybe they don't.
I don't know. I mean, it would be weird to have Hayden back just to put him in the suit,
Yeah, I know. I think someone posted that a few days ago that it would be weird if you cast Hayden Christensen, put him in the suit, and then you have someone else do the voice.
Yeah.
Then what do you even bring? So then, are we doing flashbacks, which makes some sense?
Possibly.
Or can we see Vader without the helmet, and then you can see Hayden Christensen there, which I think is going to be awesome. They should do some of that.
That would be cool. That would be very cool.
But I think there should be at least one or two flashbacks, not do every episode going back to the Clone Wars, but something. There's a deleted scene, not a deleted, an unfinished scene from the Clone Wars. That's Anakin and Obi-Wan talking in this fire camp about Ahsoka leaving and how Anakin failed her and everything he's feeling, and Obi-Wan telling him, don't blame yourself. It's not your fault. And he's, it is. How would you feel if I left or I disappointed you? And Kenobi's, that can never happen, so I'm not even going to think about it. So having a flashback to that conversation in live action, knowing what happens, I think it'll
That would
break all
be,
of us, and
yeah,
I want to see something like that. So Brian
that
from
would be
Pink,
powerful. Yeah.
yeah, Pink Milk is saying, I'm in the camp of not leaving for now. I think there is potential for other characters to travel around.
Yeah.
I'm hoping we get something with Bella and Brea. Yes,
That'd be
bring
cool.
Brea Organa into this. I'm hoping for Maul in this as well. They can redo or do something similar to the Rebels between Maul and Kenobi, which is one of my favorite scenes in all of Rebels and one of the best lightsaber fights. And
Yeah.
yes, you're right. Maul and Obi-Wan stories are so tied together. Yes, I mean there can be something if they're really casting for Ezra. Who knows if they do a live version of that episode from Rebels?
Right.
There's so much that they can do with this series. Um, they're saying Maul doing on Tatooine dealing with the Huts, and Obi-Wan was there the whole time. Can you imagine that? Maul is on Tatooine doing his stuff. Kenobi's on the other side of Rishi or wherever he's over there on the cantina. And Maul is on the other corner. Oh, Kenobi, what the hell? Where can I find you? And he's, I'm just chilling here, playing some Sabak.
It's, yeah.
So we talked a little bit about flashbacks. Are you okay with flashbacks? Do you? No, let
I
me.
am okay with flashbacks. I would maybe, I don't know. I like. I think maybe like a vision of something would be more appropriate rather than flashbacks. You know, seeing Anakin in a vision, or seeing something like that. Like, I don't know how to say. I mean, they're very similar, but I think a vision can maybe kind of move the storytelling along a little bit better,
Okay.
I guess. But to see Hayden back in full Anakin mode, and not just burned, scarred Vader mode, I would love to see that. And if that has to happen in a flashback, I'm all for it. I
Yeah.
want to see it.
It can be a vision also. There's in one of the Charles Soule's Darth Vader comics. There's a scene where it's
Yes, right.
Anakin as Vader going to
Yeah.
Kenobi and just finish me. I can't live like this. And it's just a vision, but something like that can be very
Something like
powerful.
that would be huge. Yeah.
So high hopes
Yeah.
for this series. So I said before, my most anticipated is the Cassian Andor series. For some reason, I think that's going to be very different. But Kenobi,
Yeah.
it has to be there. So before
Yeah.
we move on to our next news item, Qui-Gon Jinn, Force Ghosts.
I was going to
Yes or
ask you.
no?
Oh man, yeah, I think yes.
Yeah,
I,
it has
I,
to.
I don't want to get my hopes up too much, because I don't want to be disappointed if it doesn't happen
Yeah,
or anything. I mean, Liam Neeson has talked about putting the robes back on. I guess he wouldn't mind it too much from last I heard. So,
yeah, that would
those
be one
those
thing.
questions seem to come up, and then there seems to maybe be a little bit more to those questions sometimes.
Yeah, every time
S-
when someone says, "No, I'm not doing," but
yeah.
Ewan McGregor lied. He said he lied for 4 years about this. So I
Imagine
don't.
that though. Imagine having to
Because he
that.
knows it's coming.
Yeah.
Every interview, he knows it's coming.
Yeah.
Here we go. I
Yeah.
gotta go lie again to all these people.
Yeah.
So that's why when someone says, "No, no, I'm only in one episode. I'm not coming back," like it happened for The Mandalorian, and
Right.
then Liam Neeson, if he says yeah or
Yeah.
no, I don't. Let's watch the show and see if they really are there or not.
Yeah.
But it makes sense. It's 10 years after
I mean,
the eventual.
he always had the option to say, that was a part of my life that I'm,
Yeah,
I'm done with now. But
yeah.
they
It
choose
was
not to say
something.
these things. So it's like, you got to hang on to hope then, right?
Yeah, it's all hope. It's
Yep.
Star Wars. You gotta hang on to that hope.
Yep.
So yeah, we can keep going about Obi-Wan Kenobi, how excited we are for it. But let's jump to our second news item, and it was the Bad Batch trailer. So a few days after, actually the day after, not to be outdone by the Kenobi casting, one day later, on March 30th, we got the full trailer for the next Star Wars animated series, The Bad Batch. We got to see some familiar faces like Captain Rex, Tarkin, Fennec Shand, Saw Gerrera, but we also were introduced to a mysterious young child, possibly a clone known only as Omega. Thank you, captions. The series premieres Star Wars Day, May 4th, with a 70-minute episode. So, before we start with this, so yeah, captions, because a lot of people when this trailer came out, everyone was going, "Who's that kid? Who's that kid?" and I'm over here. They said it. It's Omega because I have captions on all the time on my
Yeah.
TV.
Yeah.
So I knew I simply said Omega, and I knew who it was. And but Twitter went crazy. Who's the kid? Who's the kid? He's this, that. It's just Omega. So we get in this kid. It's in the whole trailer. A lot of again, a lot of speculation. Is he a clone? Possibly. Is he the last clone with the name Omega? Is he a clone of Palpatine? Is he a Night Sister? Because it has he or she. People say it's a girl. I couldn't really tell. Has a bow that
Right.
looks like a Night Sister bow. So there's a lot of it. So before we keep going, are you excited for the Bad Batch for this new animated series?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm really excited for return characters like Fennec Shand and Saw Gerrera. I'm super excited to see where they're at and what they're doing. But I think this is this series. You talked a little bit about like Omega, the Palpatine clone. Maybe I think this series could have a chance to really tie in some stuff to sequel trilogy. I think that would be. I think that would be a lot of fun to start tying into what we saw with the Snoke or Palpatine
Nope.
clones or whatever
Yeah.
that type of stuff is. We still don't know what that thing in that tank was in Mandalorian. So
Yeah, we
I
got
think
the-
I think you can get some of those tie-ins here. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
So Brian is saying this is what he's most excited about for the Bad Batch, and I don't want to say on the fence, but because all of Star Wars animation has been great. I even love
Yeah.
Resistance. Rebels is my favorite one. Clone Wars has been awesome. Was awesome.
Mhm.
So I understand. I know how good Star Wars animated shows can be in moving the story along. But I'm also at the point that I'm kind of done with this time period. We got all of Clone Wars. I'm kind of
Yeah.
done with clones, and I
Yeah.
know it's after the end of Revenge of the Sith, the transition to the Empire, but we also have Solo and Rogue One, and now the
Rebels.
Obi-Wan
Yeah.
series, all in that same 20-year time frame.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of just want to move past it. But I know the history of the animated shows that it's not just these four guys, which I didn't really fall in love too much with the whole Bad Batch. But now having a whole season, maybe I changed my mind. That trailer, as a
Right.
trailer, it was great.
Yeah.
Seeing how they interact, seeing this new Omega kid, all that Rex, which is my guy, Fennec Shan, So Guerrera, where the war is going, Tarkin. There's a lot of stuff that can make this a great show. Like you said, not just connected to the original trilogy, but past it. We
Yeah.
know company has been messing with cloning for decades, so maybe we get some of that. So it has a lot of great potential. Brian is also jumping in saying that he agrees with you, Adam. I'm looking forward to seeing things tie in. And Papicino also seems to be really, really looking forward to it. So
Yeah, I'm with you though. I mean, the animated stuff has always been great, so I know that I'm gonna like this. But I totally am 100% behind what you said about this, like rebellion time period that they call it now.
follow the
I don't know how much we can do in that time period. I think it's getting pretty crowded. So
what I don't know, I mean, none of us know. I saw a report. No, I don't want to call it a report. I think someone tweeted something out that the first season might be like 14 episodes. I know the first one is going to be 70, so that's where it's
that's
being
70-minute episode for that's crazy. That's
It is.
that's I mean, in a good way. Awesome.
because usually they're like 22 to 25
Yeah,
minutes.
yeah,
Even
yeah.
the season 7 of Clone Wars, the longest one was maybe 30 minutes. So it gives you like 3.5 episodes just in the first sitting.
I mean, that's almost feature length.
Yeah, it is. They give it 20 more minutes. So maybe they
Yeah.
cut a lot of that fat out and make it, you can treat it almost as a feature movie, which a lot of people have been clamoring for another animated movie. We've only gotten the Clone Wars movie. Um, so I'm kind of, like I said before, I'm on the fence, but I understand the impact they kind of have having this group of clones, which is already different than the other clones. The war is over.
Right.
What is their life mean? What's their life meaning now? Plus this transition to the Empire and stormtroopers, and everything changes for them. So there's a lot that could happen, and hopefully we do get it. Again, they haven't let us down with the animated show, so I do believe that by the end of the first season, I'm gonna, okay, I'll take it back. They're doing a great show. So this kid, this Omega kid, what are your first impressions? Because it might be, I doubt it, but maybe it's in the first episode, the 70 minutes episode, we don't see him again, or we don't see them again, or they might be very important. They're someone's clone, or very important to the series. So when you saw this Omega kid, did you jump in the bandwagon? Yes, I want to know more about this, or just, oh yeah, just another character.
I don't know if I don't know if I'm like dying to know more, but I mean, I'm interested. I mean, for sure, I'm interested.
Okay.
I tend to think Palpatine clone.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, it
I,
makes some people posted a picture of Palpatine, I think from
I
episode
saw some
2.
of those.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
slick hair look very similar. So
yeah.
I don't. I have a Star Wars show. Obviously, we're doing it right now. But what people find on the internet, the way they connect dots, it's like, dude, just go be a detective or something. Because I don't know
Right.
how they find out. They go like 3 seasons ago. Remember when so and so said this? Now look at it back here in this other trailer 20 years later. How? How do you know this? I have no idea. So yeah, I don't know how people. Just that
Right.
deep web. They find the connections everywhere.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So finally,
I am not good at trailers and finding connections like that. Like
yeah, I know. Me
I
neither.
am terrible at picking that stuff out. I have to wait for everyone else to find it, and then
Yeah,
I'm
I
like,
think
hey, this is cool.
like we will start doing something else than Star Wars with all the
Yeah.
Marvel shows. I love Marvel. I love DC. I'm more of
Hmm.
a Marvel guy, but I'm not in that. Oh, DC versus Marvel. But I've seen all the
Yeah.
MCU movies,
Right.
a bunch
Hmm.
of them. I couldn't do a show like a lot of people do right after the episodes, and just because they make all these great connections to the
Oh
comics.
yeah. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
you gotta go deep. It's all this and all the
Yep.
one division, all the steps about depression, all this stuff. Dude, I just saw something different, but what you're saying makes total sense.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it
No.
has to be.
I understand. I'm the same way. I can't pick that stuff out like everyone else can.
So finally, for Bad Batch, so like you said, connections. So Mandalorian, it ended with Grogu leaving and with Luke, and then there was a. It said that he was taken away from the Jedi Temple before everything happened, and a lot of people started thinking. I said, "Oh, R2 took him somehow, or maybe Cat Bane took him as a bad guy." But a lot of people went to no, the Bad Batch is the one that saved Grogu, and
Hmm.
now we're getting the Bad Batch show. Do you think that's a possibility, and we might see it in this?
I If I had to put my money on something, I would say that it was probably Bad Batch. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, the Cad Bane thing is kind of cool, but I think Bad Batch makes a lot of sense, especially since, like you said, we're getting the show, and they kind of seem to be that tactical team that would go in and rescue,
Yeah,
do that type of thing. So, if I had to put my money on something, I wouldn't be shocked if it was something that the Bad Batch did, and if maybe we got to see something, maybe that's kind of like our prologue of the show,
yeah,
and then we get into different stuff. Like I don't think that would be the meat of the show, but I wouldn't be shocked to see it as a segment or an episode somewhere along the way.
yeah. It might be something.
Right, right.
But it's interesting. I mean, everything's interesting. But if the Bad Batch really save Grogu, saving, not who do they live in with? Because
Yeah,
we don't know.
that whole thing is weird because we have to get him where he's uh, being held hostage.
Yeah,
I
I
guess
think it-
by the time Mando comes around. So yeah, that where do they take him? Where do they leave him? That's yeah.
yeah. That's why not always. I started going with, it's gotta be Cat Bane because he's a bad guy. He takes him to the bad
Right.
guys.
Yeah.
But
Right.
it's
Right.
safe because then I went to R2 because in that last scene in Mandalorian, I thought that they knew each other.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought,
Mm-hmm.
okay, R2 took him. But if R2 took him or the Bad Batch, where do they take him? I'm guessing to a good guy, not a Jedi, but we don't know. And then somehow it
Right.
ends up in the
Right.
Mandalorian. So that's another story that they can do. Again, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting
Right.
to see what happens.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, before we move on, or anything else about Bad Batch you want to talk about?
I don't think anything else major. I mean, I already mentioned. I was really just excited to see Saw Gerrera.
Yeah,
I love that. I love that character, and to see him back, I wasn't expecting to see him, and so that was a surprise for me, and I was really pleasant surprise.
Very surprised with him and with seeing Rex still in his clone trooper armor for
Yeah,
some reason.
yeah,
But
yeah,
Saw Gerrera, this character that was introduced, I don't know how many years ago in the Clone Wars, then makes the jump to live action, then in Rebels, and now in Bad Batch. He's been everywhere. So he's a minor
yeah.
character that has run the gamut in Star Wars that we don't see too often for a character like that.
Yep.
So it's awesome, like I said, to see his growth. Now we can see his whole growth to how he ends up in Rogue One. Just the way that the rebellion is working. That's not the way. You gotta be all militia. So it's great
Yeah.
to see how progression of that character.
Back to what we were talking about before. It's one of the advantages of making new characters.
Yeah,
The character like that was really minor character in Clone Wars, like you said,
yeah,
and then he's become huge, and so you get that chance to make someone new that the fans can latch on to, and
yeah.
you don't really have to worry about comparisons, or you just make them their own.
All right. So I know I said before we move on, I know I said I wasn't too excited about this. I wasn't the biggest fan of the Bad Batch when they came out in Clone Wars season 7. I'll stick to it. But that's a good thing. The great thing about television is you get these arcs because
Yep.
the
Yep.
first episode, I don't like these guys. I don't Wrecker and Hunter, Echo. I mean,
Hmm.
Tech and Crosshair or whatever his name is. I don't know. They're not for me. But by
Yeah.
the end, 4 episodes later, you know the characters, you know their motivations. I really like
Yeah.
Tech. I really like Hunter. So it starts to build. So not getting a whole show to see their progression, that's the way that you build these characters. So like I
Yeah.
said, I'm not super hyped for it, but by the end of that 13th episode, the end of the first season, I might be jumping up and down. So
I'll tell you, going back to WandaVision, Wanda and Vision were two characters that I liked in Marvel stuff, but they were never two characters that I was like dying to know more about. But
yeah,
then when we got that whole series and got to see how that played out, I fell in love with both of those
yeah.
characters, and that's the advantage of this type of storytelling. So,
All right, so Bad Batch in less than a month, so 3 weeks from now, basically, we'll be getting Bad Batch, and maybe the next episode after that, I'll be singing their praises. Hopefully, that's what we all want.
yep,
All right, so for our final news topic of the week, we're going to the books. So Thrawn, our blue friend. So the day after the last week was a whole week of news for Star Wars. So the day after the Bad Batch trailer was released, we got news from Rey Books that the third and final book in the Thrawn Ascendancy storyline will come out this year on November 16th, titled Thrawn Ascendancy Lesser Evil. We're getting the second book, actually, Greater Good, later this month, I think the 27th. And Lesser Evil finds the Chief's ascendancy fractured with Thrawn cut in the middle. To secure the salvation of the ascendancy, is Thrawn willing to sacrifice everything, including the one home he has ever known? Ooh, it's menacing. Uh, so Thrawn. So
yeah,
Thrawn has EU. We talked a little bit about the EU when we began. That's where Thrawn started. The Thrawn trilogy is what everybody loved from the EU. Everyone was in sync that that was the best part of the EU. I never
hmm
read it, but then Rebels came out. We got introduced to Thrawn. Then we got 3 books with Thrawn joining the Empire and that. And now we have his origin story, basically, with the Thrawn Ascendancy, now going on 6 books. And I'll get to it in a minute. But are you a fan of Thrawn before all this? Have you read
yeah,
the novels?
yeah. Uh, I'll tell you, the most excited I have been, I think, for anything non-movie related was that trailer for Rebels, where Thrawn comes in at the end. That was I think it was a celebration trailer, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, and this first book in this series, I enjoyed it a lot, and it's really cool that we're getting both books this year. Was That was a surprise for me
Yeah.
also.
I didn't. It's a lot of people are saying, oh, they're doing both books now because the Ahsoka
Hmm.
series coming out. There's some rumors out there what that series is going to be about, but most likely Thrawn is going to make an appearance. He got
Right.
name dropped in The Mandalorian, so it makes sense. Maybe they're trying to push all the Thrawn stuff out there so to make that big live action debut. Did you read the Timothy Zahns EU novels for Thrawn or no?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Those were they weren't the first EU books that I ever read, but after I found out the EU was a thing, and I found out like these were kind of the unofficial episodes 7, 8, and 9.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, okay, so those were the very next ones that I jumped into, and I love those.
Yeah, when they said that they were doing a new trilogy with
Hmm.
before we knew it was going to be the Force Awakens, my first, I think everyone thought, oh, it's going to be the Throne trilogy. I didn't read the EU, but I knew who Thrawn was. If you're a Star
Right.
Wars fan, it's this blue alien that's a great tactical adversary. He studies arts and he'll get you.
Yeah.
So I said, yeah, it makes sense. It has to be this. Then it went another way. Then
Right.
we got him on Rebels. That was my first actual introduction to Thrawn. I was pretty
Okay.
interesting and a
Okay.
great character
Yeah.
to see. And that first trilogy, I really enjoyed it, especially that
Yeah.
first book with Eli Vantos, one of my favorite books. Second
That was a
one,
lot. That book was a lot of fun.
yeah,
That is, after like the original one, that book is probably next on my list for favorite Thrawn
yeah.
books. That was a lot of fun. Really good book.
I think it helped me not knowing the character from the original
Yeah. Yeah.
trilogy because I just was introduced basically
Well,
to him
I
in
mean,
this novel. It
even
was a great,
knowing him, I mean, it carries over so well, and it's even kind of the newer Thrawn stories where he's not so much the villain, but he's the still the tactical genius, but he's not quite. He's more the hero of his own story
yeah.
type of thing. You know what I mean? So whereas he's not just a scary villain anymore. He is. I feel like he's smarter, has more motivation, and these new stories have just been really good. I think it helps having Zahn still writing
Of
them,
course. Yeah.
that it wasn't handed off to someone new or,
Sure.
adapting the character. It's still his character writing from Zahn's, imagination. So I think
Yeah,
that helps.
that would be difficult. Like we
Yeah,
said, just
yeah.
bringing a animated character to live action, we have all those expectations. Imagine someone else writing a Throne trilogy that isn't Timothy
Uh,
Zahn.
That would be hard.
Even
Yeah,
if it's great, people will say, it doesn't. There's something wrong about it. It doesn't feel right.
yeah, right.
So, like I said, I really love that first book. Second one was okay.
It was a little rougher.
The
Yeah,
third one I really enjoyed. That
yeah.
finale, we got a bunch of new characters. Our Lannis there that were introduced to her. I really enjoyed that one. Then we got Thrawn Ascendancy, the first one, which for me, I really like the book. It's a good book to read, but
Yeah.
it felt similar
It's
a little
different.
bit.
It's different. It feels more like Star Trek sometimes,
Yeah,
And
I think
I like that. I thought that was a lot of fun. I like that, but it definitely it doesn't always feel like Star Wars, which, like I said, it's cool. Still,
to me,
I'll tell you what though, how that book kind of meets with is it Alliances, the second one? Kind of how those two kind of joined together was really fun, though.
So it
And
was because it kind of tells, there's a droid ship or something, and then
yeah,
let's just wait here, and then Anakin shows up, and like,
yeah,
get alliance. So we know, okay, this is the other part that we didn't get to.
yeah, right.
What?
Seeing the flip side of that was really 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 fun. It was a really good idea, really great idea.
It's a great idea. It brings those two,
Hmm.
not just those two trilogies, but the time
Yeah,
periods together. What I found, it's if you haven't read Alliances, you're gonna be not lost, but you're gonna be really. I only get 10 pages with Anakin. I want to know more. So either you go and get Alliances and know what's going, or then you said, I'll just go. They bastards. You should have given me more. But yeah,
yeah,
I'm still on the fence because, like I said before, to me it seems similar to the other three books that Thrawn is the
yeah. I
only
see
one.
what you mean. Sure,
He's
right.
the only one that can figure out this problem,
Hmm.
and he's messed up a lot of times in the past. But people keep giving him more breaks. I'm like, dude, no, don't give him more breaks. I know he gives you results, but there
Right.
has to be that line. I know some people on the political side, I'm telling other people the same thing. I gotta reel him in. So I'm kind of, it feels a little bit similar to the other ones. It's a great book, but I want something different. So
Yep.
I'm kind of being on the fence, getting Greater Good when it comes out later this month. I'm sure I'm going to break. I'm going to get it anyways because I got to see how everything ends. So
Yeah.
yeah, Greater Good, April 27th, if I'm not mistaken. Then in November,
Yep.
Lesser Evil to finish up this Throne trilogy. And then most likely we'll get him in the Ahsoka series when it comes out. And then Thrawn will have been everywhere, similar to Saw Gerrera.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So I think that's it. Anything else? I know there hasn't been a lot of official Star Wars news apart from the ones we talked about. There's a bunch of new comics coming out.
Hmm.
That Bounty Hunter one with Boba Fett and all the Bounty Hunters trying to get
Yeah.
Han Solo. And there are a lot of rumors about the Ahsoka series might be casting for that series. And I don't want to get into that. Anything else before we start saying our goodbyes?
No, I don't think so. I mean, even though, like I said, doesn't feel like there's been a ton of news. There's been more than I was expecting, I think. So
Yeah.
there's been a lot of fun stuff floating around the last few days and weeks, and yeah, I feel like it's been a lot of fun again to theorize online and to talk about this stuff. And so yeah,
Yeah.
it's getting Star Wars back to a fun space, I think.
Yeah, a lot of great news. One that wasn't great, especially people fans of video games, is that the Lego video game got pushed back a little bit more. I know a lot of people have
Yeah,
been waiting.
that stinks. Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
that was.
yeah, I still have my old Xbox 360. I don't have any of the new generation, but I do have the old Lego Star Wars, and my kids started playing that. So I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
get off, give me the controller. You don't know how to pass this level. I'm gonna do it. So who knows? Maybe I do end up getting that one at some point. But Lego
Yeah.
games are extremely fun, and the Star Wars one are great. So
Oh, they're great.
can
Yeah.
looking forward to it.
Yeah.
All right. So with that said, again, thanks Alan for being here. Great
Thanks
show.
for
Great
having
how you
me.
we finally
I'm
did it. Again,
I'm
Josh
just
wasn't able to be here. Life gets gotta deal with it. So thanks. We finally did this. We'll do it again some other time.
yeah.
But
I can't wait. Thank you so much for having me. It's been way too long. Way too long coming. So I'm glad that we did this finally.
yeah,
So
of course, of course.
and you're gonna be back. You're gonna be on our show here soon. So get
Yeah,
ready to
eventually we'll work on it.
open up that calendar for me.
All right. So before we head out, thanks to you guys on the chat. As always, you're great. You make this show what it is. We get a lot of feedback from you guys. We don't get questions on Twitter, but we get them from you guys. Like Tina saying, love listening to people happy about Star Wars through it all. Much love to you guys, and more love to you, Tina, and everyone's on the chat. Again, that's what we do here. There's serious stuff that happens sometimes, but we try to keep it as chill as we can here. So thanks, Adam, again. Thanks to everyone in the chat. Tell our friends where can they find you, where can they see your show or listen to your show when it comes out.
Yeah, from a certain point of view, we're on pretty much all those major, podcatchers or whatever you call them.
Yeah,
So,
those players.
yeah, anchor.fm/certain POV pod, and you can always check out the website. That's probably the best place to find everything about us. That's from a certain point of view.com.
All right. So again, thanks, Adam, for being here. Certain point of view. Make
Thanks
sure
for
you guys
having me. Yeah.
of course, always. Check his YouTube channel. Videos are also posted there. For us, if you're watching this, you're still on the chat. Make sure that you like this video. If you're watching this later on the replay, leave us a comment. What you like about the show, what you didn't like. Those can be positive or not too bad. Well, no, just say it. We'll fix it. What you're looking forward to in Star Wars, what you thought about the Kenobi casting, what you're looking for in Kenobi, Bad Batch, Thrawn, High Republic. We'll talk about High Republic at some other point. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Radio Rebel Pod. We have our website blog or the WordPress or at radiorebelpodcast.wordpress.com. You'll find it on the link tree. There's too many names to remember.
Yeah.
We reached, like I said before, 100 subscribers on YouTube. We were up to 102. I checked this morning, or not this morning, right before the show. We lost 2. We're still at 100, so that's fine. So we'll keep our special show on May 1st, talking all about Revenge of the Sith, doing our watch party. It's going to be awesome, guys. I think 4 different podcasts are coming on. Next week, we have Oysu Amin. We're going to do a big High Republic show. That's going to be awesome. So yeah, a lot of great stuff coming. Thank you guys as always. Stay safe, be safe. May the force be with you.
Radio Rebellion.